Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Chuck Rogers, licensed professional counselor and licensed marriage and family therapist.
And I'm Keith Dunn, and I'm a network engineer and web designer,
Yes, and he's going to be
programmer, and
working more
everything
with
else.
me. And
Yeah.
together we're Tabletop Coffee.
Yeah, where we are bold and never, ever bitter.
And tonight we're going to talk about is there something you can do, or do you just need to move on? Stay tuned and we'll talk about it.
I was thinking we would just start out by putting a fork in it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith knows of the situation. I am the owner of Windhurst Counseling and Wellness, and as part of our company, we have a kitchen, right?
Right. Oh, it's a beautiful kitchen.
Thank you,
Yes.
Pete Chamberlain.
Yes.
And it's two nice refrigerators and fully stocked kitchen with stove and two microwaves and a whole drawers full of things to use.
Oh, yeah. Utensils and plates.
Forks, spoons, and knives, but recently I opened it and I think there were two forks in there. And so I sent out an email to all my team and I said something, hey guys, it's that time of the year again, because we have been through this scenario before.
Right.
Where we need to check our backpacks and our purses and our bags and our desk drawers and the Varney home
Yeah.
and see if we can find our forks.
Yeah.
And Josh emails back. He said, it's not me this time. It's not me this time. He says, I just have one.
Doesn't have all 12 of them this
Yes,
time.
this time. And Alex says, I just have one spoon. And Karen says, I have a bunch. And she says her kids are actually shaming her because they find Windhurst silverware in her bag when she comes home. So we were all having fun with it, and it's a real issue as well. But we were having fun with it. And then one of the replies was from Andrew, one of our great therapists, and he says, "In case anybody is bored and needs extra reading, here's an article on the subject." And there was an actual article that I went to
Really?
read about this whole issue, this phenomenon of
Where
missing.
people take utensils.
Yes,
Okay.
silverware, or some places call it cutlery or flatware,
Right.
from companies all over the world. And this particular article was about a company from New Zealand. I think it was a place called Stuff, Stuff. Well, maybe I'll put the article down there so people can check it out.
Yeah, I
and
wanna
apparently
read it.
it's a big deal where kitchens just go bankrupt of cutlery
Right.
from the company kitchen.
Yeah.
So I never knew we were quite so mainstreamed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you are. You're
Yeah.
you're like one of these big, massive companies.
Yes, that's right. And so we all became interested, and we were reading it and kind of swapping emails back and forth because it was actually quite funny. A gentleman wrote a paper. I think there may be a book about it. Somebody made a little video about it as
Right.
well. And they were wondering how does this happen? So what do you think? How do you think it goes missing, or why?
Well, I think it's very easy to
Yeah.
do that. I mean, you go into the kitchen, you need a fork, you've got your Tupperware, and you got yourself a pasta salad or a salad or whatever might
Yeah.
be in there, and you just grab a fork, and so it's left in your office, and or it got stuck in your Tupperware, and you throw your Tupperware in your bag and you take it home. There are a lot of ways that it can easily walk away, and a lot of times I think it would be unintentional.
Yeah, and I think most of the time that's kind of how it happens.
Right.
But they began to do some anonymous interviews with some various people, and some people were just really actually stealing from the company and
Oh,
thinking that it
okay.
was okay to steal their silverware because they thought it was kind of owed to them, or it was just okay in
right.
some reason.
Sure.
Or sometimes some people, one lady actually says, I won't get the quote exactly right. She says, I was in my office and it was just too far to walk back down to the kitchen, and I didn't want to be bothered by
Oh,
it. So she just would take it home with her instead. I think and I don't know this, but I think what happens here is people are in their office eating and they lose track of time,
yeah.
and they have a client that they need to see, and so
Sure.
they're like, what do I do with this fork? And they don't have time to take it to the kitchen, wash it, and put it away. So they just can't leave it on the table or on the floor because the client's coming in. So I think
Right.
they throw it in their bag,
yeah.
get their client, and they forget that it's in their bag.
I think that happens.
Yeah.
It's very easy for that to happen.
So so it's a common phenomenon, and
Yeah.
then the question is, what do you do
Right.
about this?
Yeah. Do you just not say anything
Right.
and start replacing?
Buy new silverware.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would go in that direction.
You
but,
could do that, or you could just say,
hey,
I'm not going to supply silverware anymore. You're on your own. You got to bring your own
right,
utensils, which some people do anyway.
Right.
One company actually put, I think they were a larger company, and they
Okay.
put silverware receptacles on every floor. And then the people could come by and put their dirty flatware in the
Okay.
receptacle, and then the cafe staff would come and gather it up and wash it. And that seemed to work pretty well.
yeah, okay.
They
It's kind of
put-
like the 3D glasses at a 3D theater, so you just toss them in a
Yeah.
basket at the end.
Yeah, putting posters up did not work.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
shaming ones or funny ones didn't work. And
Right.
one person said they thought it actually made the problem even worse.
Really?
Yeah, because it called
Okay.
attention to it.
Yeah.
And so then the other thing was just to kind of take it on the chin and realize that it's a cost of doing business,
Yeah.
and just you're going to have to replace the flatware.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'd do?
What's that?
I think I'd just put toothpicks in the drawer. See, here.
Stab your-
Toothpicks are cheap, man. You
Stab-
can just, yeah.
Stab your lettuce, stab
Yeah.
your whatever, your macaroni, whatever it is. Yeah.
Put something in there that gets thrown away anyway. Toothpicks.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So I really wasn't upset about it. I wasn't angry. It was just interesting to me and all the feedback that we got. And I will have to throw this picture up on there. I did open the drawer today, and I think there were a whole bunch of forks in the drawer.
Yeah. So the forks made it back.
So the email that I sent out to people reminded
Right.
them, and they brought them back. But most of the companies seem to think that the best thing that you do, either use plasticware and throw it away, which is a waste
Yeah,
in some ways,
it is.
or
Right.
you just, if you're going to provide silverware, this is just the cost of doing business, and so you
Right.
take it on the chin. So I think we said it before. We've probably even done a video about it before. Sometimes you're
Okay.
the bug, and
Yeah.
sometimes you're the windshield.
Right.
So sometimes you're just going to lose your flatware, right?
Yeah, exactly. But, I think about what you were talking about in this, and I think the best thing that you did was just make the request.
Yeah, I did.
You just sent out the email to everybody, made the request, which we talk about making requests all of the time.
Yeah.
And that was a great way to handle it as well.
Yeah, it really worked quite well. Now, let's pretend that I didn't get a good response. People didn't think it was fun. They didn't engage. They didn't
Yeah.
return the forks.
Right.
At that point, I think I would just need to say sometimes on the bug and sometimes on the windshield. And
Yeah.
I'm getting squished on this one, and I'm not going to let this one get to me. I'm just
No,
going
it wouldn't
I'm
be
going to move
worth it.
on. I'm going to move forward.
That's right. Yeah.
And sometimes, I'm not going to belittle people's situations.
Sure.
Sometimes people's situations are horrific, but we can get, caught up in situations like this. And,
Right.
it must be just, people should, and you can become really angry, or you can even become bitter.
Yeah.
So sometimes you've got to get to the place where, Bill Handel on the Law, that's a
Okay.
radio show,
Yeah, I've listened to him.
where people would call in
Right.
and he would say, you got a good case, or sometimes he would just say, you got no case.
Got no case.
Just, you got screwed, it was terrible, it sucks.
Just
But you-
move on.
You're just going to have to move on.
Right.
And he would encourage people to do that. And so
Yeah.
sometimes I think we do have to move on. Or Sharon, move forward.
Yeah, move forward. Amen.
She loves that. Hey, I hope you liked our content. Hope it meant something to you. If it did, would you please subscribe? Because Keith would appreciate that.
Yeah, and be sure and ding that bell so you're notified of upcoming episodes.
Make sure to like it.
Yep, share it with your friends.
Thanks, everybody.
Until next time.
Okay.
You know what's great, though? I was thinking about this whole thing, and I was thinking, man, I could use some forks at home. You didn't email me to ask if I had taken any, which I had not. I rarely am up in the kitchen, but now I realize I can go up in the kitchen, get some silverware, and nobody would ever know.
Oh, you can't. And we'll just blame Karen and Josh.
That's right. We'll blame them.